If you're applying for your first visa, you will have to make an appointment at a post office near you that does. I said visa. You didn't even catch that. I was sitting thinking like I just said visa.
Okay.
Shh.
What you doing?
You had that one hanging. Okay. Shh.
Why you shushing me? I ain't saying nothing. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today our topic today, we're going to talk about passports and why you need it and the types of passports you can get and the benefit of having a passport. What is a passport? A passport is a travel document issued by a country's government to its citizens that verifies the identity and nationality of the holder for purpose of international travel. Passports are small booklets that typically contain the bearer's names, place of birth, date of issue, date of expiration, passport number, photo, and signature. There are several types of passports depending on the status of the bearer in the home country.
So what we're going to do to start is talk about some of the non-typical passports that you may not have heard of because I was actually a little surprised when we were looking this up.
Okay, the first one is a family passport. A family passport is issued to one member of the family, but may be used for all family members for traveling purposes. But it is quite rare that is used.
Next, the e-passport. An e-passport is just a regular passport, but it has a chip in the cover, the booklet cover, helps prevent fraud, and it's just like an extra level of security in your passport.
Another type of passport is an emergency passport. An emergency passport is a type of passport that is temporary if you have lost or your passport was stolen.
So there are a lot of folks out there that don't have passports because they may feel they don't have a need. So I want to talk about a couple of reasons why you would actually need a passport. First, it is a document that's going to be required if you want to enter another country. So if you're going from anywhere outside the United States, you will have to present your passport, your documentation. Usually at an airport or whatever port you're coming into, you're going to have to present your documentation. And many countries will require you to have a visa first. Now, about the visa, it depends on the country entered. So, for example, when we traveled to Bali required that we got a visa stamp in the airport before we finished going through customs. So it was a short process. They got it down packed over there, but some countries will require you to pre-register for a visa to enter the country. So not all countries are like that. Sometimes you just enter with you get an automatic temporary tourist visa when you enter most countries, but some do require you to actually get a visa. So you might have to pay for that at an airport.
Now, the question has come up as well. Do I need a passport for domestic flights? No, you don't need a passport for domestic flights, but the government will be issuing the Real ID, I think in 2025, where you would need a Real ID to travel domestically. You don't need a passport, but it doesn't hurt to have one just in case.
Yeah, we both, of course we're talking about the United States, but we both have Real IDs. So if we want to fly domestically in the United States, it's no problem.
One of the things we want to talk about is that your passport is not just to be used to travel outside the country. Your passport is a form of identification.
So, of course, you can use your passport to open bank accounts and pretty much do any official documentation or anything official that you need to do. It can be used as your ID pretty much anywhere in the world. If you're applying for your first passport, you will have to make an appointment at a post office near you that processes passports. So that's all part of the process, and it's really easy to follow. So there are some documents you'll need for your first application for a passport. Those are a birth certificate. Your birth certificate should have all the relevant information like place of birth and date and all that stuff. You will also need, if you weren't born in the United States, you'll need proof of naturalization or citizenship. Ordinarily for a passport application, you can use your previous passport as proof, but if this is your first application, you won't have one, so you have to go with the birth certificate. You will also have to have a valid photo ID, whether it's a driver's license, state ID. There are a couple of special circumstances. If it's a child under 15, both parents will need to be present with the child for the application process. If it's a child that's 16 or 17, one parent is required to help with the process. You'll have to check the government website to get the exact details of that. And if it's any more complicated than that, then we cannot answer that question. You'd have to do some research on it.
So the 2x2 photo that you would need to look on the website, the U.S. Postal website, and it will give you a list of approved places where you can have your picture taken. You also do not want to attach the photo to your form. You just want to leave it in the booklet that you get from the facility. So you have two types of passports that you can choose: the passport book or the passport card. And if it's your first time, you're going to pay more because it's your first time. And that fee is $165. So if you choose to get the passport card, it's only $65.
But the passport card is only good for the Caribbean and Mexico and Canada. So if you're going to go to Mexico or Canada or take a cruise, you can use that passport card. But you will not be able to do international flights with that passport card. You can also get a combination passport card and book. That'll be $195 for your first time.
As a form of payment, you will either use a money order or a check. I don't even remember how to say a personal check because I haven't written a check in so long. So you would either use a money order or a personal check. And if it's for a kid, a child, the parent has to write the personal check.
So once you've applied for and received your U.S. passport, it is good for 10 years, unless you are, I believe it was 15 or younger when you received it.
Yes, it's only valid for 5 years.
So it's good for 10 years. So just split that cost out, $165 or whatever, split it out over 10 years. And that's how much it's going to cost you a year to get a passport, which is incredibly valuable. We can't tell you how good it is to have a U.S. passport. But it is very important to have a passport. There are a lot of folks, and unfortunately a lot of black folks, that just don't have a passport or never considered it. So we really like to encourage people to get a passport, get outside of the country, because the U.S. is huge. There's plenty of opportunity, plenty of things to see. You may not think you need a passport, but then you start seeing other parts of the world and you realize what you've been missing.
And not only that, you get those stamps. So it shows, I mean, that was the whole reason why I really wanted a passport, to get those stamps of showing where I've been. I can go back and look, this is where we went during this time and all of that. And also, when you do get your passport, sign it. Yeah. So many people do not sign their passport because we were in the airport one day on our trip, and the airport attendant, she was like, thank you so much. You don't realize how often she sees unsigned passports.
Yeah, and it can be an issue because we were dealing with her because we had an issue. I believe it was with the luggage or whatever. But if there are certain issues, having a signed passport helps validate it. Mm-hmm. So make sure you sign your passport.
So how long does it take to process a passport or your passport application? The routine is normally 6 to 8 weeks. If you want to expedite it, it's 2 to 3 weeks with an extra $60. Now, if you're traveling within, let's say, 14 days, you would need to go in person. You would have to have the travel document showing that you will be traveling in less than 2 weeks or within 2 weeks in order to expedite it.
So typically when you're renewing your passport, you'll send in your old one and they'll process the 6 to 8 weeks, and then they'll send you your new one, and they'll return your old one.
Just know that having a passport is not only, like we said, for traveling outside the country. It is a government issue ID, so you can use it for several other reasons: cash and check, open an account, like Steve said, and just, you don't want to carry it around like cash, yeah. But it is very important. It is a very important document.
So hopefully we've encouraged some folks who don't have passports to get one, and hopefully you understand the process. You can go to the U.S. Department of State website to figure out how to get your passport, how to start the application. Hopefully that helps some people. If you like the video, hit the like button, share, subscribe, check out our other channels, and we will be back soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye.